apartment is in New Farm, which is an inner city suburb on the north side of the river. This apartment was going for $440 a week, which in my opinion was a little bit pricey.
Like, ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550.
This particular apartment was quite close to Howard Smith Wharf, which is a major attraction because it has a lot of bars and restaurants. The apartment was also located quite close to the Valley, which is the main clubbing scene here in Brisbane. Walking to the building, there's a really long walkway. Right before you enter was this magnificent pool area overlooking the city and the river. The view is probably my favorite thing about this apartment. The apartment was tucked a little further away from all the main restaurants and bars, but it did have a cafe across the road and a bus stop just outside as well. So this was a 1-bed, 1-bath with no car space. From the living area, there was an amazing view of the Story Bridge and the Brisbane River. This apartment was sort of a studio style because it had like sliding doors that could close in and separate the living room, but it was just like folds that could come in and out. The appliances sort of like gave a sense that they'd lived through a lot of like tenants previously. The living room was carpeted, which I am not a fan of at all. Maybe in the bedroom, but not so much in the living room. The living room was quite small as well. Like there was only one couch in there and probably not much room to fit anything else in. The bedroom was a great size. It had like massive wardrobe with these floor to ceiling tall mirrors as well, and plenty of storage space. There were cupboards in the mini hallway. So there was a laundry and then also just some shelving for like linen and things like that. The next apartment is in Teneriffe, which is also an inner city suburb on the north side. So this apartment was going for $435 a week in August, but they were bumping it up to $510 a week, which is insane. I don't know who could pay that by themselves. Most people do move in as a couple, but $510 a week is just ridiculous because I think it was only for 88 square meters as well. Maybe less, no, definitely less than 88. Because yeah, mine's like 70 something and it was definitely smaller than mine. The building was very conveniently located. It had a Woolworths Metro right underneath. There was heaps of like restaurants and cafes and bars and gyms literally as you step out the door. The building's amenities are probably the highlight of this property. It had an amazing view of the city, but also like panoramic views of the surrounding area. There was a rooftop pool and barbecue area, and it looked like it was kept really, really well. Like all the pool lounges and sort of like the tables and chairs just looked really, really new, which you don't necessarily always find. The apartment itself was a little bit smaller than I expected, but it was designed quite beautifully. They had these really nice timber floors, but I probably would have chosen a different shade, maybe like a darker shade. The living area was small, but probably on par with other 1-bedroom, 1-bathrooms. The kitchen was situated on the back wall, which I personally am not a fan of. I like having an island bench and an obvious distinction between spaces. The bedroom was carpeted, which I think is great. I think it makes it super cozy in the winter. Plenty of wardrobe space. The bathroom had these beautiful white tiles on the wall, which is just a really nice touch. I thought it added quite a lot of character. The shower was quite large actually. I was quite impressed by that, and there was also just some small cupboards and mirror. One thing I didn't like about this place was the balcony faced onto other apartments that were quite close by, so in terms of privacy it was pretty limited. The entrance was also a little nook, which the previous tenants had a desk in there. I don't know if I would have used that as a sort of like a study space, but it just goes to show how limited the apartment space was. So yeah, and this apartment also had a car stack. So basically you drive in and the cars sort of like sit on top of each other, and when you want your car to come out you press a button, and there's this revolver like conveyor belt style that like brings your car out to the ground floor. So I guess that's to save on like parking space. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. The third place is in Dutton Park, which is on the south side or south south side, but like on the west side of the city. And this is going for $435 a week. I think you got more bang for your buck for this particular place than all the other places that I saw. It's not as close to the city as the other apartments, but it is still quite close, probably an extra 55 minutes. And considering the other apartments are so in a city comparatively, you probably would be saving on traffic as well, because it is quite hard to get out of the Tenerife new farm. There's quite a lot of traffic. There's sort of like a one way in, one way out sort of deal there. So I do think Dutton Park's a little bit more ideal in that sense. There's quite a few schools and shops and hospitals quite close by to this apartment. The living area was quite a bit bigger than the first place, and it had a little balcony which overlooked the road, which I thought was quite nice, because it's never nice to have other people like directly facing you, but yeah, looked out onto the road, which was a nice touch. So they were going to be renovating this apartment as well before the new tenants signed. So they were going to put in new timber floors, and they were going to be painting the walls white, well, a more white. The bedroom was on the small side. You know, the living room was bigger, the bedroom was quite small, the cupboards weren't as big as well. So if you were a couple, it might be difficult having both of your things or your items in the bedroom. You'd probably have to like source some extra storage. There wasn't a lot of pre-built storage. The bathroom wasn't the largest, but it was a decent size. Kitchen just looked a little bit older. I like that it was an island bench, but it wasn't like the greatest amount of space. So yeah, and again, the amenities looked a little bit older, but still alright. And this place also had like a communal barbecue and pool area, which was really nice. But there were so many apartments around, I would be concerned that it would just get like super busy in the summertime. They also had a property manager on site, which is ideal because you can just take any of your concerns to them directly. This final apartment is in Kangaroo Point. It was going for $460 per week, which was a little bit crazy, but it was the most spacious out of them all. It was the newest out of them all. It was quite beautiful. It had beautiful stone bench tops, had this little butler's pantry with like floor to ceiling tall cupboards, and the laundry was also in there, so it could sort of like double as a butler's pantry, but it was kind of like the designated laundry area. So the island bench was just huge. There was so much space, and all the ovens and everything was like new. The oven was new. The floor was so beautiful. It was this beautiful like timber color. Had a little balcony which overlooked the Gabba, the main stadium for like AFL games and cricket. So it would get quite busy at certain times. And yeah, the rooftop on this place was insane. They had like 2 barbecue areas and a pool area. They had like a herb garden and obviously like 360 views of the city. You could almost like watch a football game from the top of the rooftop because it overlooked the stadium as well. It was pretty unreal. And Kangaroo Point itself is a really nice area. There is a Coles, I think like 2 minutes up the road. There's a hospital close by as well. Plenty of restaurants and bars like down below on the street. But yeah, parking is definitely a problem in this area because it has restricted parking, so you can only park for a certain number of hours as well. If you're a tenant, you can't just park like on the street for as long as you want, which is really, really annoying. So I think they only had 1 car park and no visitor car parks, which obviously like is not ideal if you want people coming to visit. So yeah, general tips for renting in Brisbane. The average going price really for a 1 bedroom, 1 bath at the moment is $430 it will typically go for more than what's advertised because people start offering more money, which is kind of really annoying. And also the market's just going insane at the moment. People are paying a ridiculous amount. Like really you should not be paying more than $4.20, but yeah, at the moment it's going for $4.50s upwards. And yeah, I guess like the teneriffe one just goes to show that someone can easily just bump up the rent to $5.10, which is insane for a 1 bedroom. Like you barely have any space. And the problem with that as well is like most of the 1 bedrooms don't really have a large like living area, which if you're gonna be in like an apartment, like a small apartment building, you need to like be able to distinguish your spaces and be able to not feel like, you know, you take one step and you're in the kitchen, you take another step, you're in the living room, which yeah, it almost feels like a rip-off. So this is kind of like a higher end of the renting market. So if you do want to live in a nice apartment, I would definitely recommend going for a 2-bedroom and then sharing it. The 2 bedrooms go for about $5.50. You're living in a half decent place with like, you know, nice building amenities. Whereas if you're going for like a 1 bedroom, you kind of like end up getting less space but paying more. So that's that. Once you've actually applied, call the real estate, show them that you're interested. I had a particular application that we went for. We didn't end up getting it, but she had so many people that had applied. Like she hadn't even gotten to our application yet. So when I called her, she was like, oh, what's your name? Let me write it down. So then she like filtered through and like got ours out, and she was like, we'll get back to you. And she did get back to us. And so yeah, just don't hassle them, but like just let them know that you are really quite interested. Yeah, this is the higher end of the rental market. I could definitely do another video showing you not so expensive places, maybe places that are going for $330 and around like $360 per week. If you're interested in that, then leave a comment or like the video and I can get around to doing that. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.